Attention Formula One fans. George Russell is about to sign the contract that could change the course of Mercedes forever. Why now? Get ready, because what you're about to hear will leave you frozen. Mercedes and George Russell are about to seal an alliance that could redefine the immediate future of the German team. The figure is not just any number. It's said to be approximately $30 million per season. But money isn't the most important thing in this story. What really matters is what this contract represents. This is an agreement that could run until 2028, although initially only 2 guaranteed years would be signed, with optional clauses that ensure flexibility for both parties. Mercedes, after the Hamilton era, is ready to build something new, with a new face as its emblem, George Russell. The context says it all. After an absolutely solid start to the 2025 season, with 3 podiums in 4 races, Russell has not only demonstrated performance, he's demonstrated character, leadership, and above all, commitment. Toto Wolff knows this. The technical team supports him, and the factory in Brackley is already working under his technical direction. But the real shift is strategic. This contract isn't just about ensuring continuity. It's about sending a message. Mercedes is no longer waiting for Verstappen's availability. It's no longer looking outside the box. It's investing at home. It's betting everything on Russell. And it's not an impulsive move. Toto Wolff himself, in recent statements, hinted that Russell has already assumed the role of number 1 internally. Not just because of his talent, but because of his complete understanding of the team, how it works, and the deep connection he has with the engineers. That is the real basis for this renewal. The agreement also represents a balancing act. On the one hand, it keeps Mercedes with a young but experienced driver. On the other, it opens the door to developing Andrea Kimi Antonelli calmly, without the immediate pressure of looking for an external star. Russell brings stability, Antonelli the potential. Together, they can be the formula for the future. And if anyone doubts Mercedes' commitment, just look at the numbers. 60 million euros secured over 2 years. A contractual structure that places Russell among the highest paid on the grid, even if he's still far from Verstappen's stratospheric contracts. But most importantly, it positions him as the central pillar of Mercedes' reconstruction in the post-Hamilton era. This contract, more than a financial agreement, is a symbol. It's a statement of intent. And it's possibly Mercedes' most important move since it decided to bet on a young Hamilton back in 2013. The 2025 season marked a turning point in George Russell's career. He's no longer the young driver with potential that Mercedes tested. He's the new linchpin of the team. And it all began with a test of fire that very few drivers could have passed. Bahrain Grand Prix, one of the most demanding tracks on the calendar. In the middle of the desert, where the temperatures put everything to the limit. There, with a still inconsistent Mercedes, Russell showed something far beyond speed. He showed composure, instinct, and an ability to adapt under pressure that surprised even his harshest critics. During that race, Russell didn't just battle his rivals. He battled his own car. Intermittent electronic failures began to affect him midway through the Grand Prix. The brake-by-wire system, key to braking performance, suddenly failed around lap 46. Brake pressure fluctuated corner after corner, causing the car to react unpredictably. Most drivers, even some veterans, would have been caught in such technical chaos. But Russell held firm. Not only that, he also suffered an accidental activation of the DRS in an unauthorized area, the result of problems with the electronics and steering wheel interface. The situation was so unusual that the FIA launched an investigation. But the conclusion was clear. The failure was technical, not human. And that says a lot about the kind of conditions Russell was able to handle. The most important thing wasn't his second-place finish in that race. It was the way he achieved it. No clear radio, no brake stability, no precise steering input. And yet, he still had to defend his position against Lando Norris until the very end. Toto Wolff, who has seen some of the world's best drivers work in extreme situations, had no doubts. What Russell did in Bahrain was, in his words, simply outstanding. That day he didn't win the race. But he did win something else. He won authority. He won absolute respect inside the pit box. And, more importantly, he won the ultimate trust of those who make the decisions at Mercedes. Since then, talks about his renewal have ceased to be a contractual formality and have become a strategic priority. Russell has proven that he can lead not only through pure performance, but also through the ability to sustain the team when everything is shaky. At a time when the Mercedes W16 still generates technical uncertainty, having a driver who doesn't crumble in the face of adversity is more valuable than ever. That kind of leadership can't be bought. It's built. And Russell, step by step, race by race, is establishing himself as the new leader of a team that needs to reinvent itself without its historic idol. Now, with a car that's far from dominant and a rookie teammate like Antonelli in the process of adapting, everything revolves around him. The transition is underway. And George Russell is no longer biding his time. He seized it. When Lewis Hamilton announced his departure from Mercedes, one question resonated throughout the paddock. Who would take over from the most successful driver in the team's history? The answer came faster than many expected. And it didn't come from outside. He'd been with the team for years. Silent, observant, working in the shadows. George Russell wasn't officially named as the new leader. There was no need for that. He showed it. In a sport where the hierarchy within the garage is everything, Russell has assumed a role that isn't always visible at first glance, but is felt in every technical meeting, every simulator test, every conversation with the engineers. The structure that was once built around Hamilton is now organized around him. He's no longer the young man who arrived with respect to share the garage with a legend. He's the one who sets the pace, the one who leads the feedback sessions, the one who dictates how the car should evolve. And not on a whim. He does it because he's earned it with performance, composure, and above all, with results under pressure. Since the first day without Hamilton, Russell has changed his attitude. He's more involved in technical decisions, more vocal in his post-race analyses, more aware that every word he says can influence the direction of the car's development. Toto Wolff knows this, and he's making it clear in his contract renewals, race strategies, and public statements. The arrival of Andrea Kimi Antonelli also plays a key role in this transformation. A young talent, hungry but in need of time. Russell now has what he never had: total freedom. He doesn't need to compete internally with a multiple world champion. He can build, he can grow, and he's doing so at an impressive pace. But leadership isn't just measured on the technical side. It's also measured in how relationships within the team are managed, how staff are motivated, and how the brand is represented in times of crisis. And there too, Russell has made a leap forward. His maturity in the media, his ability to take responsibility after difficult races, and his willingness to publicly defend the team have been key to strengthening his image as the new Mercedes captain. This change in role isn't improvised. It's the result of a long-term plan that Mercedes has been cultivating for years. Ever since they integrated him into their young driver program, they knew he had something different. All that was missing was the right moment. And that moment arrived with Hamilton's departure. Today, Russell not only has the opportunity to lead a historic team, he also has the responsibility of doing so in a time of reconstruction. With a car still full of uncertainties, with an increasingly competitive grid, with the pressure of representing the legacy of a dynasty. But he also has something that no other driver at Mercedes currently possesses: the absolute trust of an entire team that has decided to back him to write the next chapter in its history. George Russell's renewal is not a simple administrative formality. It is a carefully calculated move by Mercedes. A decision that goes beyond the sporting aspect and is part of a long-term strategy, both technical and institutional. Because what's being negotiated here isn't just a salary. It's the future of a team that dominated an era and is now seeking to rediscover its identity. Mercedes isn't just investing in Russell as a driver. It's investing in him as a structure, as a pillar of a project that needs stability, direction, and a face to represent it. After years of sharing the spotlight with Hamilton, he now has the entire stage to himself, and the opportunity to build something of his own. But this decision also entails compromises. Backing Russell means tacitly closing the door to other high-profile and competitive options like Max Verstappen, at least in the short term. It means trusting that the talent developed within the team can be as decisive as any external signing. And that requires conviction. Because Russell's performance so far has been solid, yes, but not definitive. The step that will position him as a real title contender remains to be taken. Mercedes, for its part, has also not delivered a championship-winning car since 2021. The mutual commitment implies that both parties must grow at the same pace. If one falls behind, the entire plan could collapse. The regulatory context also adds pressure. The 2026 season will bring a technical revolution, with new power units and a complete aerodynamic redesign. Here, the continuity of a driver with technical vision and internal knowledge like Russell can make a real difference. But it also represents a risk if the car doesn't live up to expectations. Added to this is the internal variable. Andrea Kimi Antonelli is a young talent, supported by the Mercedes structure, but still in the process of establishing himself. His development will shape the team's internal dynamics. If he quickly approaches Russell's performance, a competition Mercedes hasn't experienced since the days of Rosberg and Hamilton could emerge. If, on the other hand, he takes a while to adapt, the entire burden of development and results will fall solely on Russell. From a financial standpoint, the contract is substantial but sustainable. $30 million per season places him among the elite salaries, but it's still a reasonable figure in today's Formula One market. Even more so when you consider what it represents in terms of internal leadership and continuity. And that's the heart of the matter. Mercedes isn't just looking to win races. It's looking to rebuild its legacy. And for that, it needs more than speed. It needs consistency. It needs a driver with the ability to influence all levels of the team. Someone like Russell has already proven he can perform with an imperfect car, lead an unstable project, and maintain high morale even in the most challenging seasons. The question is whether that gamble will be enough. Because in modern Formula One, individual talent can't always compensate for technical shortcomings. Russell may be ready, but now it's Mercedes who must prove they are too. The margin for error is minimal, and the clock is ticking. George Russell isn't just the driver who replaced Hamilton. He's the driver who decided not to wait any longer. The one who took control of Mercedes' present and is shaping it with every lap, every meeting, every technical decision. Russell's story with Mercedes is much more than a multi-million-dollar deal. It's a narrative of maturation, strategic evolution, and quiet leadership that has gradually made more noise than any victory. At a time when other teams are betting on established stars, Mercedes is betting on a vision. A vision in which the protagonist isn't a name with 7 titles, but a talent built in-house from the ground up, step by step. And now the question isn't whether George Russell is ready to lead. The real question is whether the team can give him the tools to translate that leadership into championships. Because patience has limits, time passes, and the window of glory closes quickly in Formula One. Mercedes has made its move. It has put its chips on the table. And the entire technical, sporting, and symbolic future of the team depends on a single card, George Russell. Will this be the beginning of a new golden age? Or are we witnessing a valiant attempt at reconstruction that never quite took off? What's coming could be great. But only if Mercedes and Russell align themselves in every decision, in every development of the car, in every race. Because in Formula One, it's not enough to have talent. You have to have the moment. And now, more than ever, everything seems to indicate that the moment belongs to George Russell.